Hi, my name is Vikas Kaul, and I hail from Ranavari, Srinagar. Post migration, I've lived in about 7 cities, and currently I live in Pune. Our clan in Ranavari was famously known as Biras. My dad was a teacher with DAV Nagar, and my mother was a teacher with DAV Ranavari. Since migration in 1990, I haven't been able to visit Kashmir, although I do plan every year, but it's not been fruitful thus far. I did my schooling from DAV Nagar till class 10, since my dad was there. And the most cherished memory that I have from the school time is riding my cycle from Ranavari, my home, to Nagar. And the route entailed crossing over the river Jhelum through Zero Bridge. Life in Kashmir was very simple. For a kid, it was only studying and playing cricket. Uh, Cricket was agnostic to the weather. One would be playing in -8 degrees as well, and it was also agnostic to the place that you would play. Have played cricket in between the tombstones, graveyards of Malka, which was on the foothills of Hari Parbat, in a freezing temperature of even -8. In Jan 1990, I had just given my class 11th exams. Back then, it was known as PUC. Our house was on the main road, and we were always on the receiving end from stone pelters, even though it was never related to us. For example, if Pakistan lost a match against, let's say, West Indies, our house used to get pelted with stones. If in 1986, the then president of Pakistan, Ziaul Haq, died in a air crash, our house was stone pelted. So that's how it always was. 19th, Friday the 19th of January, infamously known as the 19th Jan. Uh, we all were watching a movie on Doordarshan, Nagina, and close to about 9 p.m., the loudspeakers on the mosque started to blare slogans like Relive, Saliv, Ya Galiv. It means join us, uh, die or run away. Or hey, काफरों को जला दो. It seemed like a scene from the famous serial on partition, Thomas, and we were kind of just living it at that point of time. And as uh, we were kind of subconsciously trained, the first thing that we did was to switch off lights, not to attract uh, uh, any of those, because by then hordes of these people had started to come on streets and were repeating the same slogans again and again. So we switched off the lights. Such was the fear that even within our home at that point of time, we were talking to each other. We were just whispering, as if people on the streets may hear us and may attract them to come and break into our house. Each minute that passed seemed like an hour, and each hour like a day at that point of time. And we were hoping against hope that the army would be called in, and we would be saved back again. But that did not happen, uh, and we were like that. We were even able to hear our own breaths uh, till the time it was dawn, and that was the first time that we we spoke to our neighbors, and they had girls from the age group of about 16 to 26, and they said they were up in the attic and ready to consume poison, which was there with them in their hands. Should anyone try and try and forcibly try and enter into their home. So that night, I think, changed the entire history of Kashmir. Like how we know in history, any any event gets related to whether it was BC or AD. In Kashmir, in our lives at least, we all know it is pre 19th Jan or post 19th Jan, because that was a very decisive night for our community. The next morning, since we were on the main road, we started seeing a lot of people with whatever they had in their hands, trying to leave. And we started to think that are they going to safer places? Like in those days, the army cantonment, one of the army cantonments in Srinagar city was Badami Bagh, and the nearby areas were Indiranagar and Shivpura. We thought that they have possibly their relatives over there. And with whatever had just happened, whatever we'd experienced at a night back, possibly they were going to those places because they would have their relatives over there. And we thought it was all localized only to our area that we had seen. But the next day, when we contacted our relatives from multiple different parts of the city, and what we saw was exactly a copy paste of what we had experienced. So that's the time when we thought that it is not an isolated incident that has happened only in our locality, but it is something that has happened right across at least the Srinagar city. That's what we thought at that point of time. We stayed put, and every day we started seeing people leaving. Uh, and then 25th January is when four Air Force personals were shot dead in Rawalpura while they were getting prepared to attend the rehearsals for the 26th January Republic Day parade in Kashmir. Uh, as days passed by, I saw a lot of my friends leave, and everyone left by saying that it's a matter of few days that they are going to safe haven. Since we didn't have any place like those to go, so we stayed put until the last week of Feb, when something very untoward happened, and we experienced it. We had a government handicraft center which was roughly about 20 feet away from our common house wall, and this was all government run. One of these days, and I was just sitting on the balcony, uh, and I saw about 4 or 5 guys with who were masked, with a can in their hand, and who basically got into the campus of this handicraft center. And within about 10 minutes, I realized what I was seeing, that all 4 corners of the handicraft center were, up in flames. And our house being just about 20 feet away, I thought the first instinct I had was to possibly uh, call up the fire brigade. And I, from the back door, went out to my friend's place, and I screamed, saying that please call the fire brigade. And by then, the uncle over there had said that the I've already called, but they're off the hook, and there was nothing that we could possibly do. By the time I came back home, the first instinct that I had and I had heard was just bolt the main doors from, because this is the time when a lot of miscreants enter into your house, and that's exactly what happened. People whom I had not known started telling me to throw our stuff out in order to save it, because the house is just gonna get engulfed in the fire. Uh, so we stay put. I did not let anyone come inside, and I did not throw anything out at that point of time. What I witnessed was that is something that shook me. I saw uh, a, a police van come in, and the police van was picked up by these people with their hands and turned completely 180 degrees. And I were asked to leave the place and let the handicraft center burn. After a while, I also saw a fire brigade come in, but all the locals did not allow the firefighting personnel to douse the fire at all, and they let it burn. By the time there was a post office Rainawari, which was also a stone's throw distance from our place, uh, they broke that open, and anything and everything that they found there, they picked it up from there and threw the entire thing into this fire. So curfew was clamped, and this is an incident that shook all of us at home, and we realized that we weren't safe at all. Although we had nowhere to go, but we couldn't survive being there the way things were turning ugly. Within about a few days, 4th of March, 1990, uh, the curfew was relaxed for a few hours. We got into a taxi and we left uh, Kashmir on 4th of March 1990. The exodus had a huge impact on us. Uh, I mean, time had just stood still, and we felt we were all in a vacuum. We did not know if we had to look for a shelter, for how long did we have to look for a shelter. The only two things that kept us going at that point of time was one, we were thanking God that we were still alive, and the other positive that which kept us going, was the fact that uh, we knew that it would be only a matter of weeks that things would turn back normal, and we would go back. These are the only two things that kept us going at that point of time. But in reality, we had suddenly come into vacuum. Uh, Everything was slow. We did not know how to react. We did not know what to plan for. We did not know what to look for. I mean, it, we were all under shock at that point in time. While we felt safe, uh, but it was an everyday decision to survive. Uh, Stayed with a few relatives for some time in Jammu. Came to stay with relatives in Delhi, uh, who said you need to be closer to Kashmir. So went back to Jammu. Uh, at that point of time, got some space to stay in a government quarter along with six other families. Spent about 2.5 months over there till the time uh, my aunt, who was constructing a house, was generous enough to offer us a room to stay. So we moved in there, and suddenly in about couple of months time, from a 10-12 room house, we just got into a single 10 by 12 room, uh, which which kind of kept changing basis the usability. It was a kitchen, it was the living room, it was the study room, it was the bedroom as well. But thankful to them that they helped us, have a shelter. While the shelter was taken care of, but what lied ahead was how do we survive, because mom's school in Kashmir was burned. There was no source of income. So early morning, I used to uh, accompany my mom from one school to another, asking if there are any vacancies and that could be filled in. We were lucky enough, in about a week's time, she picked up a job, although it was only at about 20% of what she used to get back in Kashmir. But that's how we survived, and I gave my 12th exams from Jammu itself. An angel in the form of a human, my friend's dad, uh, took me and him to and got us to Pune and got us admitted in Pune. Uh, all we wanted was just a window of hope to cling on to, and that angel uh, exactly helped us do that. That was the window of hope, and that's how we we survived. And the ultimate objective was to be able to be on our own feet, and we knew from there on we would definitely improve. And as soon as I finished my education and started to earn, so got my uh, uh, mom into Pune and started to uh, build a new life from there on.